TikTok.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Thought I had that timed out right. You're going to see a lot of that tonight. So close. All right. Welcome to my whiskey den. Obviously, things are a little different tonight. Normally, Patrick is behind the controls on this thing, and Patrick, as everyone knows, he is like Dale Dobach with his drum set. You do not touch the drum set. But tonight we are going to put our nutsacks all over his drum set, and we're going to do whatever we want. We called an audible. Ben's on vacation, and Pat's not feeling well, so we are going to do our own types of. I guess not even really a bottle kill. We're going to talk and have some whiskey. And as you noticed, we have a different person with us tonight. Some of you know him as Joe the Policeman from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. So put your hands together for Jackson Heights' own Kevin Rose. Everybody. Kevin, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, we're Kevin and I were trying to get some whiskeys lined up, and we're just gonna sip and chat, and hopefully you guys will join along. Please, first thing, tell us what you're drinking in the chat before we get too crazy here. I do see we have Ice House, Tim Sway. Benjamin is not paying attention to his family. He is instead watching this. Miss Emily Chambers is on. And let's see, who else do we have? That's it so far.
Adina's on there.
Adina's on there, yes. All right, well, and there's Neil. All right, evening, everybody. So, Kevin, we talked about our lineup. What we have here, what do we want to go with first?
Well, if we're doing it a proper tasting, we would probably go with the that Leopold Brothers Maryland style rye first, since it's the lower proof, but we can go however you'd like.
You know what? You are the guest. You decide.
Well, let's try that.
All right. That sounds good. So, all right. So for the nerds and stat whores, what barrel do you have?
I have barrel 156.
Ooh, really close. I have barrel 162.
That is pretty close.
Todd had said this was actually, he considered it a dusty because they haven't made it for a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it again until next year.
Yeah.
So if you find it on the shelf, grab it.
Exactly. I have not had this one for a couple months, actually.
Yeah. But it's a Maryland style rye as opposed to a Pennsylvania style rye.
So, and that's very interesting because, you know, Todd's he's a learned man, and
yes,
and if he was doing a Maryland style rye, it wouldn't be you know, we'll just say a half-ass attempt at a Maryland style rye, and he wouldn't be trying to put Maryland rye to shame. So I think when he's saying Maryland style, it is in the vein of it, but with a certain amount of reverence is how I would take it with Todd.
I think that's probably a fair statement.
Oh, man. Oh, and John Tingley joined in. Dave joined in. Old Man Bay. Old Man Bay Signs has got some cool stuff going on, and those of you who haven't looked him up on Facebook and saw he did a really awesome sign for Old Elk.
Yeah.
And they sent a barrel home. Oh. Yes, Matt, it is Tom Selleck. All right. Yeah. What is everybody else drinking? We are doing the Leopold Brothers Maryland style rye whiskey. Kevin, what do you get on the nose?
It's very floral, I think. Some berries like blueberry, blackberry. There was take that back. I may be there, but when I was a kid, and sometimes I hate these tasting note references, but when I was a kid, my mom would make apple cinnamon muffins. I get that on the nose.
Okay, you said that, and I get what is the smell of rising dough.
Okay.
I get the hint of that in there. I definitely get the apple, but there's something like, I don't know, like a root smell that I'm getting.
There's a spearmint gum note in there too, maybe.
Okay, and I'm sure it's power of suggestion, and I haven't had anything to drink for a week, but yeah, there is that the gum base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I really enjoy the nose on this.
I do too. I mean, it's really nice. I'm glad you suggested this one because I haven't hit this one in a while. I've looked at it repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking I need to get back into it. All right, I'm gonna go in. Man, there's something candied but not sickening sweet to that rye.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't, like when I was thinking, well, Maryland rye, I think is something a little bit more, I don't know, a little more bold. But this is, it's not very bold. I don't know. How's yours?
I always thought it was the Pennsylvania that was more the harsher one, spicier one, oakier one, and the Maryland was more fruity and floral.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in the chat knows for sure. Dave says Leopold is always so floral.
Yeah, I'll go with that. If there was only like a bourbon steward in the chat.
That stuff's overrated. On the palate, I get some of that floral and fruitiness still in there, but there's some of the oak or some of the char or something from it is kicking in.
Plush, like the song.
I like that, Tim.
The problem with Leopold is they have had, for my area, they always said on the website, oh, it's in your area. It's in your area. Well, there's a couple of the brandies in my area, and then there is this Maryland style rye. And I called around the other one and said, oh, no, we have more. So I go and check it out. And no, they don't. They don't have more. And, so getting it where I'm at is a little rough. Hopefully I'll remedy that with either a trip to Colorado or something. But because there's a few things from Leopold that I would really like to get a hold of, aside from the upcoming three chamber that's coming out, which we did get to try that, and it's really good. But the what was it? I think it was the cherry liqueur.
Yes.
And I heard that was pretty darn tasty. So we'll have to add that to the list.
I heard he makes an absinthe also.
Yes, I did see that.
I've not had that.
I'm sure it's good because it's the professor.
Yes.
And I did look up people like myself who've been kind of faunching at the bit to get the three chamber rye. There's been lots of delays with packaging, but he's been laying it down for a while, and I don't think he's been laying it down in a small quantity. So I can't imagine it's going to be something where you show up at the distillery and they're going to be like, well, sorry, folks, all 260 bottles are gone. So
Right.
because he laid it down 5 years ago, and he's continuing to do it. So it's not going to be something that's going out. So don't rush out. We need to get ours first, but we still have our coveted samples.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's you can keep your Pappy and your BTAC for this year.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that three chamber rye.
Yeah, go hunting for that.
So there's a little honey on the finish, I think.
I would agree with that. I need to pour some more of this. I'm definitely getting a lot of grain out of it too, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm making a lot of noise with the glass here. No Benjamin Eves. There will be no BTAC rants. Everyone who's on here probably knows enough to not just go standing in line for that. Go stand in line for something more, something more magical, like a Leopold Brothers, like a Spirits of French Lick, like Stumpy's or Neely or Hartfield. Go, for God's sakes, go to Iron Root. Yeah, go stand in line for that stuff.
Floor share rant.
No.
He's been in therapy for a month over that.
That's right. My copays are through the roof. We were talking before the show because Kevin was our most awesome and gracious host on our trip to Kentucky, and talking about doing a return trip, because I mean we had all these plans. I mean, the list got really long at one point. That it was like, and I think it was Kevin who was like, okay, I think you need to look at logistics because I mean we were thinking of going to Second Sight, which was north quite a ways, and going to Neely, which was north and then west a little bit, and then so we were going all over the place. Yeah. Like, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So then we tightened the circle up a little bit, and no regrets. We just have to do another trip now.
Right.
All right.
Kentucky will still be here.
Yeah, Kentucky's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Also, one other thing about the Leopold, there's some similarities that I get from with Stumpy's. Just some of the stuff that Adam does there, just in, I guess, just overall profile, if that makes any sense. Kind of the signature flavor that you get. I think there's some similarities there, but that may be an exploration for another day.
Yeah, and well, Adam, or him well enough, and I mean, other than having a conversation with Todd, who don't really know him, but he's, I mean, I would very much say a craftsman, and very much say that he is respectful of what he's doing in the past and everything, and really cares about the end product enough, along the lines of someone who is, with the head of an engineer, but also, a chef who is like, I've grown all this stuff. I'm going to make you a meal that I want to eat and that I'm proud of.
Right.
And, I know I like to equate things to food. I'm sorry. It's just not, when you grow up and Huskies on the back of your clothing, it just kind of goes hand in hand. But I would imagine Adam, because he was an engineer, is an engineer, correct?
Correct. And
maybe some of that's to it. It's like the details and the little things to make the little things show up and make the little things matter. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you know him, and he's going to be on coming up at the end of next month. So I mean, obviously we'll talk to him more. But
yeah. Anyway, not to get off on that tangent, but I at some point do a few side by sides with this and one of Adam's ryes and just see what you think.
So Dave, when are you going to Second Sight? What part of July? Just curious. All right. So we move on to another?
Yes, I think so. Now, your Solomon Scott, what's the proof on it?
My Solomon Scott is 102.2.
Okay.
What's
And
yours?
mine is 99.3.
Oh, okay.
That's
Interesting.
like a radio station, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. 99.3. All John Cougar all day.
All the hits, all the time. From the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. I'm sorry.
But no Bob Seger.
Against the wind, baby.
All right, I gotta get this thing open.
It's odd, and I didn't think about it when we were picking these. We've picked 3 ryes.
Yeah.
Which, not a problem with that, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Probably should have picked up on that earlier, but
it's all right.
Well, what if we do the Ranger Creek Texas rye?
Okay.
The cider barrel finish.
That is a good one. We like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And the thing is, this is I would call it still early on what Josh is doing at Ranger Creek, and he's man, there's some other announcements they put of other things they got going on there, and man, I'm excited to get all these new fun offerings that they're doing.
And I'll say this about the color of it. It could pass as apple juice.
I was going to say the same thing.
So if you're in a bind somewhere and you're not supposed to have whiskey, but you want whiskey, this could work.
Yes, it could.
Not that I'm, purporting such behavior, but or would commit such behavior.
But those dance recitals are not going to go through themselves.
True that.
Oh man.
There's definitely some tart apple on that.
Yeah. It reminds me of these dried apple chunks that we used to get that had they had a little bit of cinnamon on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's very much, the apple juice on here, it's, man, the apple is strong on the nose. That cider is, now you wouldn't think that the cider would give that necessarily that strong of an influence on a rye whiskey, but this is also Texas. So, there's going to be some aggression in the barrel. But yeah, this is Ranger Creek Texas rye finished in cider barrels. They call it Tejas. It's for the Texas Whiskey Festival. It's a collaboration.
Total age of 3 years, right? 2.5 in the bourbon barrel and 6 months in the cider barrel, right?
I believe that is correct. Yes. Yes. My eyes are getting old. There's a pro tip right there, folks.
Yep. You won't get a sideways look if you've got like a big white styrofoam cup. If you're walking around with a red Solo cup, people may still wonder.
That's right. That's right.
That's very smart, clever, very clever, Kim.
All right.
Okay. Now, when I taste it, let's do one other thing. You probably can't see it on the screen, but this thing has legs for days.
Yes, it does.
For something that's a total of 3 years, that's pretty impressive. But it may not make any sense, But do you get peaches in this?
Mm-hmm. I do, and then there's something. I was trying to. Of course, I'm going to have too much of this, and I can't do that. But there's something just tart, funky right off the bat
Yep.
in the initially on the palate, but then it hits, and then it goes away, but it doesn't drop off. It's just
Right.
like, I've done my job. Everything else take over.
Yes, and then it's like a cobbler, an apple peach cobbler, and there's some cinnamon and some brown sugar in there.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
And that it's not the actual fruit in the cobbler. It's that, what do you call that? Somebody that's a cook in the chat. The syrupy, gunky.
Oh, the filling or
the whatever that is. That just kind of sits on your tongue after you sip it.
And then left over, and in the nose afterwards, they get the crust from the cobbler.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Of course, Kim knows.
Thank you, Kim.
The glaze.
Bailing us out as always.
That's right. That's what she does.
Alan lives that every day.
That's right. Yeah, this is another great suggestion. I'm glad you brought this up, because I don't have this one enough, because, well, one, you can't just go to the store and buy it, but it's just it's kind of its own thing. I think this would be really hard to have in a mix with a lot of other things. But I haven't tried. I want to try it with cocktails. I think it could be really fun with cocktails. But this might not be a standard old-fashioned type thing. This might be one of a cocktail contest type of a whiskey that you.
We need to get I'll get a sample of this in Adina's hands and see what she can come up with it. That
would be. Oh, okay. Speaking of which, this is up your alley, and Adina would probably like this too. So a friend of mine, his family's been growing peonies in the same plot of land for 100 and some years in Independence, Missouri. And they sell peonies all the time. They come out and they're out and they're ready to go. Mm-hmm. So he sometimes has way too many peonies, and he's trying to figure out what to do. Well, he found a couple of Victorian recipes. He's going to make a peony simple syrup, peony bitters, and what was the other thing he was talking about making? Something else for doing cocktails. I said, okay, you do this, you have to give me some, because I know the people that get this into the hands of, it could be fun. I mean, he just got he has a massive amount of peonies that he's got to do something with. So yeah, we're gonna get some of those, or get some of that stuff, and try to make something
interesting.
And yeah, get some to you and Ewalds, if you guys want some. I mean, not that you don't have peonies from where you're at, but if somebody else is making it.
No, I didn't know you could do that with peonies.
Apparently they're close to a rose. Okay. I'm sure Kim knows this answer too. but apparently there's something in them that's similar to it. I think that might be it. I'll have to ask him. He's going to make something with it. But yes, I'll ask. But regardless, I will get whatever he's going to make, and we'll get them in your hands.
That's fun. Are you still playing with the Texas Rye?
I was sniffing it again, because there's just a weird funk. I mean, I like it. It's like there's a funk in the glass. It's just yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm good with it. I'm all good. Actually, I did forget to do, which I'm going to do this really quick, as is tradition, as they say, making our combo glass.
Yeah.
Could be very interesting with what we have on the slate for tonight.
It's a fairly eclectic group in our lineup.
All right. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go next?
Hey, well, if you want, why don't we switch it up and go to the Wilderness Trail?
Okay. That sounds good.
Now you're dealing with a single barrel, correct?
Yes, single barrel bourbon.
Okay. Mine is the bottled in bond, so it is obviously 100 proof, and it is a small batch. And I think the largest batch that they have is 12 barrels, at least right now.
Ooh. This one had not been opened in a while. Had a really nice cork pop, and there's still a lot in there. Yeah, so mine is a steel box pick, single barrel, 57.5 ABV, 5 years. I don't know if anyone wants to hear yeast strain, etc., but that's another one that'd be fun to talk to Pat Heiss.
Yeah. Originally, everything was on a pot still, and then they switched to a column still in 2016 for their bourbon. They still use the pot still, I think, for rum.
That was a really interesting jump to go from Ranger Creek to this.
Yes. I think we're going to shock our palate a little bit.
The nose is still, because, the first two had just such a unique nose to them, and especially that Ranger Creek with an apple. On the nose coming off it, the nose is flat.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I know it's not. I know it is not. There's no way this is flat. But
try the old smell your elbow technique.
Very vanilla cream with a little bit of orange rind.
Yeah. There's a little bit of orange in this, but there's some like cinnamon, maybe some graham cracker. When I say my bourbon group, we do a bottled and bond bracket challenge every year. And last year, the Wilderness Trail high rye bourbon won that bracket.
Oh.
So.
There's something I can't quite get my finger on here. There's a lot of proof there, but I'm also getting I'm also getting, getting fresh bread dough.
Yeah.
But it's really hidden behind the proof.
What is the proof on yours?
57.5.
Okay.
It's tiny, like I can nose it and it's fine, and then all of a sudden it just like comes up in waves. The proof just like it comes up and goes back, comes up and goes back. Ben, just because you're in Florida and it's legal to kill people and do lots of things in Florida doesn't mean you get to chime in like that.
I think it definitely this one, at least on the taste, has some caramel to it. There's a little bit of orange in there, some baking spices.
Hmm.
Little pepper and some oak. It's a good finish too.
There's a lot of proof up front on this, more than what I guess more than what I thought I was going to get off of it. But it's like grilled citrus, almost like
Okay.
maybe like combination of grilled oranges and lemons. But then there is a little bit of the pepperiness to it, and there's more of a lingering finish that's not necessarily a finish of flavor like what I've been so used to with a lot of what I would call the traditional craft whiskeys that we've had. I know Wilderness Trail, I would think, well, now we're defining what is craft. If Wilderness Trail is laying down a lot of whiskey, I mean, I don't judge it by how much you're laying down. I kind of judge it by, are you doing the extra work that it takes on there? Are you doing some unnecessary work and steps in your process to ensure it, or are you going full on automation, on your stuff?
Yeah. I mean, they're no longer on the craft trail. They're on the primary Kentucky Bourbon Trail. I think that started this past year. So not that defines anything necessarily, but
what determines that?
It's a number of, I think you have to have 150,000 barrels in storage is one of the criteria, and I know they've surpassed that.
Okay. But I mean, I guess I wouldn't necessarily call that a defining factor either, because I mean, like I said, I think it's are you doing extra and extra steps, profits be damned to do some things. To me, that's more craft, because like if you're getting a dining room table built, you're going down to the store and you're buying one that's built. Sure, it looks nice, and yes, it's made out of hardwood and so on and so forth. Or you've got the Amish or the Mennonites who are making one, and you're getting one from them. Well, they're doing stuff more by hand, putting a little bit more time and effort into that. That's kind of the same thing here. I'm sure they'll last the same amount of time, but
Right. And some people define it by the type of still you use. And if they're using a column still for their whiskey now, that for their bourbon, that wouldn't necessarily qualify them anymore either.
Yeah, the finish is interesting because after everything is done, then the finish is more grain, more of your fresh baked goods than say a wild turkey, which I love. Wild turkey, I love it to death. But that's interesting because it didn't give me that feel that I was kind of expecting. Which is not saying anything good or bad. It was just different.
Well, of the three we've tasted so far, this one is the most easily accessible by anybody that may be watching tonight. And I would certainly, if you get your hands on any of them, I'd absolutely do it. But you can probably go to your local liquor store and pick up a bottle of Wilderness Trail. And I would suggest you do that. And then if you look on the side label, it describes the mash bill, but it also tells what type of still it is. Copper Pot Distilled is the one that I've got. But now you're starting to see bottles that say column still. So I appreciate the fact that they're disclosing that. But if you can find one that says Copper Pot Distilled, you may want to grab it because they don't make those anymore. Yeah,
and that's what mine is too. And as a Wilderness Trail, I'm really surprised. It's really weird because where I'm at, the two big cities on either side of my state, you can get far different things in St. Louis than you can in Kansas City. And I can, I'm 4 blocks from the Kansas state line, and you can get things in Kansas that you can't, on the Missouri side. But Wilderness Trail, I see Wilderness Trail around quite a bit, which is interesting for something. I guess I mean, they're putting a lot of stuff out, but
Right.
yeah, like you said, it's accessible. I've had 2 Wilderness Trails. Both of them were single barrels. One of them was a rye, and then I've got this bourbon. I'm just getting into this bourbon. I like it. I think it's almost a disservice to have done it after the other 2, but definitely, I mean, I do like this bourbon.
Yeah.
And
everybody knows. Well, most people probably know how they got their start with farm solutions and focusing on yeast. And almost any distillery you talk to, if they've had a yeast issue or a question, they run it by Pat Heist. We were down at Limestone Branch today, and they talked about they had an old yeast jug that they sent to Farm Solutions Wilderness Trail, and they did some analysis on it, and they were able to pull the yeast out of it, and they were able to develop a yeast strain from it. So they obviously have a great reputation even before Wilderness Trail started, and I think that what they're doing there just enhances that now.
And now, have you toured Wilderness Trail?
I have. I was actually there when they first released their bourbon. They had a big festival event, and everything that came out was 4-year bottled in bond. So it was pretty neat.
So how has the progression been of their spirits and their quality?
I think everything I've had has been very high quality, and I've not had anything there that I haven't liked. I don't know that they're necessarily doing as much from an innovative standpoint as a lot of other craft distillers are doing, in terms of mash bills and trying different things. But they've obviously been very successful, and I think their whiskey is very good.
Yeah. And yeah, Ben had mentioned Distillers Talk, which Christy
Yes.
Atkinson and Alan Bishop, which we, not going to sugarcoat it. We're friends, but it's also a good show. Lets the distillers kind of really get into the weeds and talk about whatever, get really deep on what they want to talk about. So yeah, highly recommend looking that podcast out. There's a lot of really good interviews on there. A lot of people on there where I guess they're free. They're free to speak. I'll put it that way. They can be as honest as they want to be, and they can be free to speak about their beginning, their things with the industry. But you learn things about them and about their process that you don't normally get to hear, because it's not your normal marketing handout like you get with in some things that you hear. It's like, all right, here's the speech again.
Right. Yeah. The show with Pat Heist was outstanding. The show with Todd Leopold was outstanding. They're all very interesting and worth checking out.
Yeah.
Light Tower.
So. Yeah. Yeah. That in its own. That one stands above many others. Yeah.
Yeah, we love you, Alan. Speaking of Alan,
all right,
are we ready to go into some of his whiskey?
Sure. The Solomon Scott. Now, this is not the official release of Solomon Scott, because the official release of Solomon Scott is not until August-ish, something.
That's what I thought.
William Dalton's June-ish. Yeah, William Dalton's June, I think, right?
It was
the actual William
May, but they pushed that back. They pushed back Morning Glory. If Kim or Alan are still on here, they can tell us for sure.
Yeah. So this is like you can get it some places if you're what's her name? Liquor King in Texas, was a Big Red, and some of the other ones in Indiana have done their picks. Mine is a steel box Solomon Scott. Which one's yours?
Mine is Bottles Unlimited in New Albany, Indiana.
Okay.
Yep.
And these are, I mean, the difference is these are single barrel picks versus the bottled and bond release that comes out.
Right. Yeah, this one's very close to 100 proof. This is 99.3.
Yeah. And mine's 102.2.
Okay.
Yes.
So pretty close.
Yeah.
But it's 60 rye, 35 corn, 5 malt is a mash bill. And Alan names his whiskeys after historical figures from Southern Indiana. Hoosier lore, Hoosier distilling lore. And Solomon Scott, he was, I believe, part owner of McCoy and Scott Distillery and part owner of Daisy Spring, and I think was also an illicit distiller in his own right. So
They're prolific in Indiana.
yeah, and it's a 5-year rye. So
I mean, call me crazy, but I'm getting a little apple on mine.
yeah,
Need to.
I'm getting a little.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say
No.
I'm getting some fruit there, but I think I'm getting a little bit more peach than apple.
So Ben had said, yeah, because Ben has the steel box one. Last I checked, the steel box still has this one. So if you're interested, go to steelbox.com. Not a paid advertisement.
There's some grassiness there, but it's not your normal rye grassiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And Tim and Ben are talking cigars in here. Yes, we're going to do another Whiskey Den cigar night. We did one. That's not Pat's thing. So we'll definitely be doing another one. Be one week. Maybe we can get Tim on there.
There you go. There's a little cinnamon on this too, on the nose.
Yeah, I'm just getting something. There's something citrus. I mean, it's kind of apple, but it's not really. And I've had, like I said, I haven't had anything to drink in a week. And I've been a little off the last few days.
Yeah. I haven't had anything to drink since this afternoon, so.
You poor man.
Don't know how I made it this long.
The struggle is real.
Oh. Ben's getting real
Okay, listen.
prissy down here.
I already started off with apple. I'm trying to give this the benefit of the doubt, but I know I'm off. I said that going in. I know I was going to be a little off tonight. Listen, you tried dragging Walton and Lanier up and down the court for 45 minutes. I'm out here busting my buns every night, kid.
A show of nothing but movie quotes. That movie quotes is tasting notes.
Oh God, we could do that. Mm. Kevin, do you like movies about gladiators?
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Okay, yeah. So the other day we started watching uh, the uh, uh, the old Police Squad TV show,
Yep.
and anyone who hasn't seen it, everyone should have seen it. Anyone who hasn't seen it, go find it. It's only 6 episodes from the 80s. It was the precursor to Naked Gun. So far ahead of its time. Just
Yep.
horribly. All these little things that they did were just they're just hysterical. But one, like towards the end credits on there, and it still makes me laugh. There's a one of the characters on there is like 8 feet tall. So you only see him from like here down on the screen, and he comes walking in the screen talking whatever. Well, at the end of I think it's the first episode, he comes walking in there, and he's eating a banana, and and Frank Drebin's like, "Hey Ed, you got something on the side of your mouth," and you see his hand go up, and he goes, "No, the other side," and this freaking hunk of banana like this big just comes falling down and hitting the desk. I was just laughing hysterically at that again. And then the other thing, they go and talk to this lady, and she's crying. Her husband had been killed, and she's sitting there crying. And he goes, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we would have been here earlier, but your husband wasn't dead then."
Oh, too clever.
It is. All right, I got to do this again. I'm running my mouth. I'm rambling.
You're in the chair.
I got the chair.
Anything hiding behind the door there?
Got nuts all over the drums. No, there's only one door. I'm in the basement. I'm in Buffalo Bill's basement. Mm. I'm getting cinnamon there. I'm still getting that apple. But and I don't want to call any of that. I mean, I'm not far into this bottle here, but and I'm not going to call that any of my final comments, especially because I know I'm off, but I'm still getting like the bake notes that you get off of see a brain fart, French lick, where it's a French lick.
Mm-hmm.
No, Tim, it's Shark Week.
I get some tobacco and some coffee and some ginger in this.
Okay. As you're saying that, I'm going back in. I'm getting coffee. I feel like I need to drink a whole glass of this to wash everything else away. All right.
It is
pour a little bit again.
It is very much an atypical rye. It's very unique. You still get some of that sweetness from, again, what I'm getting on this is more peaches, but there's some sweetness and there's some tobacco in it. It's very unique.
See, now it's starting to take over my palate,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing. but I'm feeling more rye with it now. Like I'm actually drinking a rye and not just a whiskey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I'm still off.
And that finish, there may be a little bit of even dark chocolate on it.
Mm. A little water in.
Yeah. Dave, did you say that you had this this bottle, this store pick? Did I see that in the chat?
I think he said he had that same 99.3 proof.
Yeah. Oh, Neil did. Neil did. Okay.
Or Neil, sorry.
Yeah.
Neil, Dave.
Dave's not here. See? The whole show.
God, can you imagine an entire show where you just spoke in Cheech and Chong things? People would just be like, what? What?
It's a winner.
Mm.
I think all these are not have been a winner. This is just extraordinarily unique.
Yeah. And I'm not writing down any notes tonight just because he said I have been physically off, and so don't trust anything I say.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. So Neil says that he's got that in New Albany also. Here you go, Davey Walds. Neil, did you have any thoughts on that specifically? Anything that you would add to it from what I've been rambling about?
Okay. All right. I will say while we're waiting, a couple things I want to make sure that I bring up is our friends at Wood Hat Spirits. If you're in the Missouri area nearby, because you have to pick up a kit, they are doing a Bourbon Women Missouri tasting, which anyone who can get a hold of the kit can participate. Go to Wood Hat's Facebook page, and you can see on there is a St. Louis pickup. There's a Kansas City pickup, or you can go to the distillery and get it. And it's on June 23rd, and it is with Wood Hat and the lovely Miss Jessica at Wood Hat Spirits. So go and do that if you can. And at some point coming up, I'm not sure when, but when I was at Iron Root in March, the wonderful licorice people gave me a Iron Root Glencairn and a bottle of Iron Root whiskey that we were going to do a giveaway with. We got to figure out how we're going to do that because you can't ship things to people, so we have to find we know people who drive trucks that if we can hand them something, they'll take it and they'll drop that off. So we'll make sure we'll get that arranged, and we'll figure out the appropriate giveaway that we will do, so somebody can get a Glencairn and somebody can get a bottle of Iron Root.
They're called UPS drivers, Mike.
Whatever. Everyone's got acronyms. I don't know what that stands for, but whatever that is. But we'll figure that out. If you go to Iron Root, you will not regret it. They're such nice people. I mean, holy cow, licorice people they're making really good whiskey. Yeah. Licorices are responsible for us getting a hold of Alan in the first place, which was last March. Yeah, March of 2020. Mm-hmm. It was Robert. He's like, you guys want to get nerdy, you need to talk to Alan Bishop. And then we had him on, and we're like, did we talk about whiskey? I don't think we talked about whiskey the entire time. partially because Jolie was on, but so we were just watching the two of them talk, and we're like, what the hell is going on? But what a good time. So yeah. I'm trying to think of what other things we have. We're going to make sure what's coming up. I'll tell you upcoming shows as I try to navigate this fancy interface we have coming up. We got one of our Friday shows coming up, and this one I promise. Well, I'm not going to promise it's not going to be a shit show. Fridays just get weird, folks. They just get weird. But this coming Friday, we have folks from Kentucky Artisan, the small craft distillery, making big things. So we're doing a Friday show with them, and it will be unique for many reasons because Pat will be back in his den. Ben will still be on vacation, but broadcasting from there, and I will be in northern Minnesota with my friends who I cannot promise that they won't do things to me while I'm on the show. But it'll happen. So yeah, we'll have that show on Friday. And then next Monday, Glens Creek Distilling, which we're very excited about. Kevin was partially responsible for us going to Glens Creek. That's going to be fun talking to those guys. That was just an interesting place. I mean, for multiple reasons, and the tasting was great. After Glens Creek, we do have on the 14th, we have Bluegrass Distillers. And then following the 14th, we have Mr. Jason Bronner, which that's another one we're very excited about. We're going to be going over some of his Buzzards whiskeys and talking about all the great things he's got going on and him being a pioneer.
Yep.
After that, finishing out June is on the 28th, Adam Stump will be on. And then kicking off July, we have Brian Cushing from
Crap.
I'm drawing a blank again.
Locust Grove.
Locust Grove. Dang it. See, That's what happens. From Locust Grove, and Brian will be talking about some Victorian cocktails and some other good stuff there. That will be extremely interesting. And I'm not sure what we got going after that. We got a few other things in the works, so it should be pretty darn fun. But yeah, the Kentucky Artisan should be interesting, not just because it's a Friday show. We're actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was at Glens Creek. What day is today? It's their Saturday, and they've got a couple of their special releases that are available right now, and you can order them. They don't ship, but you can order them outside of market, and they'll hold them for you all the time.
Yes, yeah, they got something waiting for me too.
They have that Cuervito Vivo, which is their Old Crow mash bill. That they do. I think they do maybe a barrel of that a year, and then they've got their OCD Premium. A few bottles of that still available too.
Isn't that? Did you pick up the OCD Premium?
I did.
You did. Have you had it yet?
Just the sample that I had at the distillery.
Okay.
And it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm really wondering how that compares to the standard OCD.
I don't know, but I'm going to find out pretty soon.
In 20 minutes.
Maybe not that, but I'll find out this week. The whole process that they go through is pretty amazing, and I won't spoil that. They can talk about that when they come on the show next week. But they're a lot of fun, and I think people will really enjoy that. And Bronner's hilarious. You just kind of start the show, and I don't know what you and Ben are going to do, Mike. It's because Pat and Jason are just going to basically talk the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to let Pat talk. We're not going to have to because Jason. It's you like that when you get someone that's lively that can carry on the conversation. But yeah, Jason's just a really very nice man. He's very interesting, and he's got even if you only go back 16 years, he's got a good story.
Right.
But previous to that, he's got a pretty good story. But we went to the restaurant twice when we were there. That food is legit good. that was excellent food. And totally worth going to Bourbon's Bistro just to go to the bar, and go
Yeah.
and get quizzed down by Mike. That was a blast.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good time. Trying to think of whatever else. Oh yeah, and then Ben mentioned he's working on with Marianne Eves. He's had a couple conversations with her, so at some point we'll get her on. But yeah, and then we're also trying to figure out too where there's been conversations about trying to go to Wisconsin. 1, 2, or 3 of us meeting up there at Dancing Goat. And hopefully we'll meet some other Wisconsin people up there. We'll let people know what's going on. And of course, obviously talking about getting back out to Kentucky and Colorado. So
Yeah.
like a lot of people, there's some road trips going on.
Everybody's
and
going to get out.
Exactly. And I'm going back up to Minnesota, and I was asked, like, well, how many distilleries are you going to hit? And Ben, this is where the rant happens. I'm not going to any distilleries in Minnesota because of Minnesota's archaic, complete 1000% bullshit laws that are controlled by the lobbyists and the Illuminati, but they only allow you to get like a single 200 mil one at a distillery. But I can go to the liquor store and I can load up the back of my car. It's just like it's very similar to the restrictions of Texas, although they're not restricting you to that bottle size. Also, speaking of Texas, get on. I think it's the Texas Package Association. But if you go to Texas Whiskey Trail's website, and you look on there, there's links to a lot of places where you can go. But there is this massive group that is saying that, number one, Sunday sales are really bad. They're bad for business. They're bad. Those poor workers that have to work on Sundays, and really the companies don't make that much money when they're open on Sundays. Well, part of the people behind this group, there's one big one, and I think there's maybe not quite as big. They happen to own liquor stores, and they don't want distilleries selling bottles. So guess why? So yeah, it's just a whole bunch of crap. So yeah, unfortunately, you have to deal with those laws like that. But yeah, Minnesota, visiting a distillery, it's a visit. Not like you're going to walk away with much, but you can load up at a liquor store. And Texas, you said you're going to Iron Root. There's a liquor store across the parking lot from Iron Root. They've got a lot of stuff. They don't have everything of Iron Root's. I will say there are liquor stores that are cheaper. You go a little bit further out. But yeah, Iron Root can't sell you more than their 30-day limit. But you can go to the liquor store and you can load bottles up and hand some to kids. But by God, those distilleries, they're evil. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. And end of rant. I'm done with that. So things have to happen at some point.
Preach on.
Yeah, it's a bunch of BS. And luckily, Kevin State and Kentucky, they are shipping. It's up to somebody to decide what's reciprocal. I know that.
Yes.
I found that by experience. So chances are, if you get a hold of the distillery, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get something shipped to you.
Yeah, depending on who it is and how far they want to stay away from the gray area. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the gray area can be very thick. So anyway, I don't. Oh, we got to hit the blend. What am I waiting for here? Have you got your blend going?
I do.
I know for a fact there is less of the Ranger Creek Tejas in here than the others on accident, but that apple is coming through.
It takes it over.
Mm. It's very bready and doughy and apple. I mean, it's almost like an apple turnover. So I hate to say that, but
yeah. No, that's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah. While we're doing this, Kevin, what do you have going? Because Kevin does Bourbon Fellowship,
Yeah.
and what else do you have coming up? Where can
I
we see your writings?
well, I have my bourbon group is called Bourbon Fellowship, and I have a little blog that I'll write on with that occasionally. Mostly talking about some of the things we do in our group, but occasionally just some things in general. I write and edit the blog for the ABV network called the Whiskey Corner. So you can find the blogs either at the Whiskey Corner on Facebook or at the ABV network website. And then looking at doing a show with with Ben and a friend of mine here in Louisville named Drew that we're going to call Bourbon Turntable, where we're going to talk about whiskey and we're going to talk about music. And we will cast our net pretty wide on both accounts, both on the whiskey side and on the music side. And we're looking to launch that sometime this summer.
So are you going to do like I guess how are you going to do that? Are you going to do like come up with a pairing? It's like, here's the whiskey. What music goes with this whiskey?
Sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes we will just be. Sometimes the three of us will be drinking the same thing. Sometimes it'll be everybody's on something different. Sometimes the themes for the music will be, we focus in on a specific recording artist, or we may look at a specific theme that cuts across genres. We've talked about everything from classic rock to country to opera to you name it. We'll probably touch on it. And same thing on the spirit side of the equation.
Nice.
So we think it'll be a lot of fun.
I think it would be. It pairs with everything, Tim.
Bourbon stripper pole. Thank you.
I want to know what pairs with Telephone Man by Mary Wilson. If you know that song, it's now in your head and you're welcome. And if you don't know that song, look it up and you're welcome. Mary, Meri. That Ranger Creek really took over.
It takes over the nose, but I don't know that it on the palate. It's not. I think that some other stuff comes through with it.
I get that on the palate too. Maybe that's part of my offness. I got a lot of apple in my body right now.
I think the Ranger Creek to me is pretty significant on the palate, or excuse me, on the nose. But the Solomon Scott, it boxes out pretty well in this and takes its own space.
Yeah, I need to give everything a fair shot when I'm clean and ready. But
I've been playing around a little bit with blending the Solomon Scott with Matty Gladden.
Oh, okay.
And the first time I tried it, I did 50-50. And it was good, but I think I can play around with the ratios on that a little bit. And I think it'll be pretty fun. Not that both aren't outstanding in their own right, but again, right. If you're bored and looking for something to do, here's something.
Yeah. Blending's always fun. I had a blending / aging that I had 2 1-liter barrels that have had a variety of things in them. One of them started with port, the other one started with rum, and then from there they both evolved into different things. And then at the end, I put both of those together. So I wanted to do something different with them. So I wanted to make make my own Starka without burying it underground. Partially because I'm getting really tired of waiting for Iron Root to come out with their Starka, because their last Starka was just thick. I mean, it was just so thick and coating and amazing, but it takes a while for it to come out. So I did, out of the 2 barrels, one that had 6 or 7 things in it, another one that had, I think, 5 things in it. One barrel filled it with Tito's, the other barrel filled it with Kirkland, which may or may not be Grey Goose, I don't know. But I did that in December, so they've been sitting since December.
Oh wow!
And 3 weeks ago, my sister was in town for my daughter's graduation, and she brought me some Slovica, whatever. I should know this. I'm Croatian, but she brought me one that they make at her lodge, in Arizona. They mixed it with honey, and it was really good, because the normal Slivovitz, there's Slivovitz, but the brand is Slovica. But the normal Slivovitz, the plum brandy, it's shit. It's not great. I mean, it serves its purpose. It's just not great. So I gave her some of the aged vodka, and I checked the levels of both of them. Both barrels were pretty identical. So I go to dump them last night, and one barrel ended up, in 2 weeks, something happened. It yielded about an ounce.
Wow.
Yes. The other one, totally fine. So of course I hit everybody up, and nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows. I don't know. But they know. I mean, they're like, look, we know not to touch your stuff. But we had a lot of other people over at our house over the last couple of weeks. So I'm guessing somebody got in there. It's like, look, it wasn't leaking. There's no way it leaked that much in 2 weeks. This
right.
is missing.
Where are you storing?
It is up on top of the kitchen cabinets where it's warm, at the warmest part, like in that part. But It's been sealed up really well. But they're literally next to each other, and there's no leakage.
You would know it, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And it wasn't, the bung wasn't loose or anything like that. I mean, I'm pouring it out, and I'm like, wait, what? And it was like an ounce or less out of one of them. I was pissed. I was so pissed, because I mean, there's we were going to have some on the show, and I was going to send some out to other people, and I was like really excited, because I was really happy with how it was turning out. But anyway,
well, if either of my sons happen to be watching this, getting me a barrel for Father's Day would be a great idea.
Yes.
Just saying.
And the last ones that I got were from Oak Barrels Limited.
Yep. Which
is out of Texas. They I would have to, compared to the other ones that I have gotten, I think they were better made. They weren't, the bung wasn't as cheap. I thought it was just a better barrel overall compared to what I'd already had. But yes, there were some thievery going on.
Thieves. Yes.
The teen angels. Yeah. It was it was pretty bad. But anyway, the small barrel is pretty nice. But I will say, if you want to get serious, when we had Nancy on, Nancy's like, oh, if you really want to get the effect, get she said get a 5-gallon. And I'm thinking, what? To fill a 5-gallon just for fun? 1 liters are fun enough.
I'll start with the 1 liter. 1 liter is a fine place to start, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I'm going to get this Solomon Scott Matty Gladden blend down as far as percentages, and then I'm going to put it in a barrel. Oh
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Now, what about putting it in a barrel and also putting some in a bottle just to let it marry 2 different ways and seeing what happens?
Well, that's a great idea. Absolutely. Yeah.
That just means you got to buy more.
Well, yeah. They got to make more too. So.
Well, this is true. Yeah. Yeah. This is very true. Yeah. There's a lot of things we know, at least from our friend Alan. We're like, come on, when's this stuff coming out? The buckwheat whiskey, the new wheater, and the Solomon Scott coming out. I think those are the first 3 that I know for sure coming out.
Yeah, there's the What is
Not
it?
that this is a commercial for
Apple
spritz
brandy
sprinkling.
aged in tequila barrels, and
Yes. Oh yeah, bottle and bond apple brandy.
yeah,
There was that too.
yeah.
We know that because he tells us, but there's
Well, yeah. I did an article about all that stuff a while back, and it's just everything just seems to be delayed a little bit. So
yes, it is, and then some.
yeah.
So
I see Kent Mace is on here. Kent Mace, new grandfather 2 times over, I believe.
oh well, congratulations and cheers to you. Have a little.
And I know we're kind of winding down here, but do want to say something about Memorial Day.
Yes, please.
And if you haven't already, take a moment in your own way to be thankful and appreciative of the sacrifices that have been made for all of us by men and women from the formation of this country till today that have given their lives for us to be free and do silly things like this. And that by living our lives and by enjoying the freedoms that we have, that honors them. But we also need to be more, I guess, proactive and deliberate about remembering the sacrifices that they made. So to the families out there who have lost loved ones, who have lost loved ones defending this country and the freedoms around here and around the world, cheers to you and thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And don't, the other thing too is not to diminish the as they say, the ultimate sacrifice, but the people that have come back that have not come back whole,
Right.
that are doing their own struggle. They have that's something that unfortunately has been not given the attention that it should be given.
Right.
So if there is a local group and you are inclined to do that, there's many of them. If you fish, there's a group around us called Healing Waters that they take vets out and they take them fly fishing, and do things. That's actually part of their therapy. There's other things like that to help a lot of these people come back. Josh Gardner, we drank his stuff, and he's a returning vet who's found a way to make things work for him as well.
Yeah.
So please support them of all kinds, but the ones who've never been able to come back whole and the ones that didn't come back. Yeah. So I think with that we'll call it. And as always, we run over. Unfortunately, we don't mean to do that, but it happens. But we do encourage you to go see our friends at Whiskey Crusaders, who tonight I believe are celebrating their 2nd anniversary. And they're just really nice people, and they are a lot of fun. They let's see, and Neil and Kent. I want to make sure you get Kent's comment up there as well, and thank all of them.
Absolutely.
The Crusaders, Matt has, I think, the 2nd largest collection in Texas. It's all we know. It's ridiculous. It's like, if you want it, Matt's got it. But they're just super nice people. So please, please go and jump over Whiskey Crusaders and support them. But with that, Kevin, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate the offer and the time we've had here.
Yeah, Kevin's been on a couple of times and hopefully a lot more. This was a good time. Pat, I hope you're feeling better. At least
Absolutely.
you get to feel better at some point. Ben, I hope you have a really good and relaxing vacation. Not too relaxing. Don't forget, we have a really, hopefully a good and not too weird show on Friday night. Got to be nice to the new guests. It's different when it's just us. When we have guests, we got to be on our best behavior. So, So
Jade will get you off that pretty quick, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I hope so. So anyway, this coming Friday, next Monday, and all the other dates, checking online. And once again, thank you, everybody. And as Pat always says, it's not the size of the den that matters; it's the love of the whiskey. Cheers.
Cheers. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Let's get into it. 1, 2.
Yeah, I know it's the wrong graphic. Just deal with the music.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.